The updated version of Nissan's third generation Qashqai makes a bit more of a style statement and gets much more sophisticated media tech. Added to the electrified engineering and practicality attributes of the original Mark III model, it makes for a super strong lower mid-sized crossover contender. Nissan hasn't made any engineering changes here, it didn't need to. Despite its family-friendly brief, the Qashqai has always been quite fun to drive and has continued to be so in this third generation form, thanks to its common module family CD platform, which has provided for a stiff but relatively light body shell. Now, rather unusually, in a class where driving enjoyment tends not to be prioritised, this Nissan immediately feels a little more agile and eager than your average mid-sized SUV, an impression aided by a relatively quick steering rack. Which is about as far as you can go towards sportiness with a car of this kind, given that customer priorities with family crossovers usually tend to lie elsewhere. Primarily with comfort, helped here by the way the stiff body shell allows the suspension to be a little softer than with rivals, with the result that only bigger bumps cause thuds to be felt in the cabin. It'd be even better if all models were fitted with multi-link rear suspension, a setup Nissan still restricts to four-wheel drive models or those like this test car fitted with the largest 20-inch wheel size. There still isn't a full EV version of this model. That'll come with the next generation version, but from the very start with this J12 series design, the available combustion power plants have always been electrified in various different ways. The most affordable models use a 1.3 litre 12-volt mild hybrid petrol engine, co-developed with Renault and Mercedes, which comes in DIGT 140 or DIGT 158 forms, the latter available with the option of the aforementioned four-wheel drive system. As usual with mild hybrid setups of this sort, a small lithium-ion battery gives a fraction more mid-range punch and takes care of engine stop-start duties. These mild hybrid variants offer a choice of 6-speed manual or CVT Xtronic automatic transmission. You'll have to have the auto if you're one of the very rare customers wanting the all-wheel drive version, which features special snow and off-road driving modes and shifts power to the rear wheels as traction requires. We should also say a little more about the alternative e-Power hybrid engine too. We're trying it here. It's a fascinating drivetrain this, and Nissan hasn't messed with it as part of the midterm updates made to this third generation Qashqai design. For a start, at 2.1 kilowatt hour in size, the battery is about twice the size it would be in a conventional full hybrid. And it's topped up by a little 3-cylinder variable compression 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine that never directly powers the wheels. Forward motion is instead taken care of by a single front axle mounted motor which puts out 190 PS and 310 Newton meters of torque, which is enough to propel the Qashqai e-Power to 62 miles an hour from rest in 7.9 seconds. But braked trailer weight falls from the 1,800 kilogram figure you'd get from the DIGT 158 mild hybrid model to just 750 kilograms. Inevitably, the e-Power system only works with auto transmission, but does so more smoothly than with the CVT autos used in some full hybrids, thanks to a feature called Linear Tune, which ties engine speed to road speed. Nissan has also engineered in its e-pedal system, which increases energy regeneration when you come off the throttle. Now, this doesn't slow the car as much as it would with the company's Leaf and Ariya full EVs, but it will mean that in normal motoring you'll be using the brake pedal a lot less. What you get from the mild hybrid version of this Nissan doesn't alter between 140 or 158 spec versions of the DIGT engine. Think 44.8 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 141 grams per kilometre of CO2 for both front-driven models. Even the auto gearbox makes virtually no difference to these readings. It's 40.9 miles to the gallon and 155 grams per kilometre for the all-wheel drive auto version. Qashqai customers for whom efficiency is everything will be drawn to the e-Power full hybrid model, which is of the self-charging, i.e. non-plug-in variety. Let's get to the figures. The e-Power variant manages up to 55.4 miles to the gallon and 116 grams per kilometre. Facelifts are generally nip and tuck affairs, not this one. The update changes nearly all lie with this more aggressive front end and the larger grille, which gains finishing apparently inspired by the ancient armour scales of Japanese samurai helmets. The front bumper is also different. The LED headlamps have been restyled and there's a sharper daytime running light signature too. It's a lot harder to change interior architecture than it is to alter a few exterior panels, and sure enough, the updates are a lot more subtle inside. If you own the original version of this Mark III J12 Qashqai and you've opted for a more expensive trim level with this updated model, like what we have here, you'll notice the smarter dash and centre console finishes, plus the plush faux leather upholstery, which can be partly quilted and features a dash and centre console with white stitched Alcantara inserts. You might also pick up the fact that there's now a more advanced 64 colour ambient lighting setup and a better quality camera for the around view monitor parking system with 8 separate views. These include a useful T-junction view, helping you to check for oncoming traffic at blind junctions, and an invisible hood view, which generates an on-screen image of what the wheels are doing under the bonnet. Nissan says it's good for avoiding curbs and positioning the vehicle in car washes. Bigger changes, though, lie with this centre screen, and not just because it's now 12.3 inches in size. The computer that runs it has become several times more powerful, enabling a switch above base trim to Google's advanced Android operating system. As before, most Qashqais get this digital combi-meter instrument screen, which replaces analog gauges above base trim. A display which has now gained subtly altered graphics. What else? Well, there are proper physical climate controls. Better spec models like this one get a head-up display, and build quality from the Sunderland plant feels pretty good, though there are some scratchy plastics lower down the dash, and some of the trimming touches, such as the synthetic leather on the seats, don't feel particularly premium. The rear seat can take 2 adults comfortably, but 3 would be a squash. Right, let's finish with a look at the boot. The hatch reveals a wide and deep aperture and the lips sensibly low. Nissan redesigned the suspension of this Mark III Qashqai, giving a useful load space capacity of up to 504 litres with all seats in place, enough to take up to 7 carry-on cases. It's worth pointing out, though, that this figure falls as you ascend the range. The N connector and Techna versions many customers choose have only 479 litres, and this top Techna Plus trim is hobbled by the need to accommodate an upgraded Bose audio system, and that sees the low capacity figure fall to just 455 litres. This improved version of the 3rd generation Qashqai feels like a new model, and in many ways it is. It's not just the reinvigorated looks. The media hub of the car, its centre screen, now offers infotainment at a completely different level. So this Nissan will integrate into your family life so much better. True, the cabin quality still isn't quite a match for premium brand rivals, but you're not quite paying premium brand prices, and the sharp handling will please, plus there's as much practicality as you really need. In short, the class leader has just upped its game. The changes made here are more than you'd expect from a facelift, but everything you'd expect from a segment champion.